Okay, anyway, this one I really like. This one I really like because this is one clock. 8 bytes. 1 clock equals any amount of bytes. So let's start this. So the first things you'll see is that these lines are constant. This is basically using the same logic as these ones for the read. I don't think I have the read on those. Well, on the last design anyway. You can see the last video for that. So this basically extends the signal so it stays on constant. I found a little cheaty way of doing it. If you have a 2 ticks input and a 3 or 4 tick what's it called? 3 or 4 tick repeater, that's it. The thing I only use in this. Wow. So yeah, if I have a 3 tick or 4 tick repeater here and a 2 tick repeater here, it keeps it on and it doesn't actually, it stops the flashing. So if I set this to 4 tick, actually 2 ticks makes it flash, but it still stays it constant, so you can use that. That keeps it constant and that keeps it constant. Don't know why, but I want it on 3 ticks so it looks better. And it's a little bit quick if it wants to see the timing for the stopping. Anyway, this uses the same logic as that one to check whether the clock is on or off. Well, is on in this repeater. So basically, it's just checking when to lock this repeater here, because that's basically how the write works. So like in that one, it stopped the whole clock for a few ticks and let it go on, which desynced everything. This one runs off one master clock, and then you yeah. So let's write to. I haven't connected any decoders because I need a 3-bit one, which I'm gonna work on next. So yeah, so let's input the same number we had before. So yeah, also the LSB is on the bottom, just in case you didn't know. So let's save that to, let's just do this register right here. So as you can see, it stopped for a few ticks and it came back on and did it right, and it wrote, yeah, and everything's still in sync, which is perfect. So let's just stop this. Actually no, we can just keep the data inside of it. I'm not gonna be bothered clearing it. So basically how this works is that this line goes up here and it's extended for 4 ticks. Actually these can be shortened, I'm pretty sure, but I'll just leave them like that. So basically this goes into this repeater, which goes into this block. This just saves space on busing, and this stays on for 4 ticks, so even if this locks it for 2 ticks, it's still got 2 ticks left. And if I made that 3 ticks, it'd have 1 tick left, which would still work. And then that goes into here. So basically, if this is locked, it's saying it can't be locked right now. And then when it's unlocked, it'll be at the right perfect time to do it. So let's do it. You can have any amount of pulse, like length, in this line, so that doesn't really matter. Oh god. Yeah, that may have screwed things up. Let me try and just, yeah. Okay, let's try that again. So as you can see, you locked it, and it's gonna stay like that until this pulse is stopped, and it's gonna just resync up with this. It's not even gonna resync, it's just gonna take the output, this line. So I never have to resync this. This can be infinitely expandable, and yeah, it makes the memory cell actually a huge amount of times smaller. I'm gonna turn this clock off. This uses the same logic. Literally, this thing here is the reason why all of this crap works. So yeah, like I said in the first video I uploaded, it's these 4 blocks that's actually making everything work. And I'm very glad I made that, because that was by accident. I did not think of that. That was by accident. I don't know how I just came up with it. I just plopped it on and it just worked. So yeah, I guess I can show you this. This is the decoder I use for this. I'm going to add an extra layer, so it's actually going to be 3 bits, and that can go up to 8, which I need for that. So let's do, this is 0 right now, this needs to be inverted. And yep, this is 0, 1, 2 and 3. Do that to retract the block, and let's do 1. Yep. 2. And finally 3. This one is a lot I don't know why, but vehicles things seem a lot easier for repeater only logic. I'm not sure why. I think it's because it's just easier to get the initial line everywhere. So yeah. Hi Noob. What is he doing? He decides to AFK in the best places. That's Noob for you. Anyway, for the first one, because it's 0, if any input's on, it's going to cancel this line. So all I needed for this was a NOR, which is quite simple. It's just going, they get ORed together into this repeater, and then the initial line goes through that and basically checks if this is on or not. And that's a NOR. This is more complicated. These two are basically the same but flipped for each input. It's basically an imply gate. So there's an OR gate here. This NORs once, then NORs again, makes a NOR. And this one's a NOR gate. So yeah, basically one inverts them and one inverts the output, and the other just cancels the output. So yeah, basically the same for this one. And this one is a AND gate. So yeah, pretty simple stuffs. Yeah, so this is 2 NORs going into another NOR. So I can actually build some of these for you. I have to turn chat back on, so brace yourselves, because this server's pretty chatty. It's a nice little, it's a nice community though. So slash up. So this one is basically the 2 NORs are basically here. So this is what's happening there and here. This is what's happening there. Then they get ORed, which is right here, and this one gets NORed again right there. Simple. This one's a little bit more trickier, but it's still pretty simple. So this one on the bottom side is a NOR, so that one gets inverted. So let's just say, because that's 1, I'll just guess that's input A, which is this side for me. So that gets inverted. And this side goes into 2 NORs, which is same as an OR, so I'll just put a repeater there. And then that gets NORed at the end. So yeah. And for this one it's basically flipped. Okay. Like that. Except this time the invert is on this side. Yeah, I think that's called an imply gate. And this one is pretty simple. It's just a basically just this, really. So yeah, actually I'll move this up for aesthetics. people be on my plot. Like, jeez. I think they know I'm recording or something. I don't know. So yeah, that's basically the gate side there, and that's pretty much it. I'm planning on making a CLE adder using repeaters only, but I'm most likely going to be making a ripple carry adder first, so I can just show some concepts of how it works. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And just remember this thing here, this is infinitely expandable. You just need to add more ticks. And yeah, repeat only. One downside also I need to add is that because this is basically volatile memory in Minecraft, so it isn't really volatile, but it works like RAM does in real life. Once the power turns off, all the data just gets flooded out. So there's not really a way to make non-volatile memory with a repeater only. So I'm gonna have to use a different type of memory, most likely solid state. So that's the only thing that will be not repeater only if I make a CPU out of this. If I can make a CPU out of this. Actually, I know I can make a CPU out of this. So yeah. So in the future, I'll be most likely uploading a lot more videos about this, but I'm gonna finish the 4-bit CPU build first before I actually start doing the CPU with this. So yeah, I'll catch you later, guys. See ya.